Student clients, welcome back to another edition of the NMS e-learning systems YouTube channel, brought to you by the DLA Guru.
All right.
Yep.
Well, hey, thanks for your patience and welcome back. Good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Really good. Real good. Let's see. So I know we caught a lot of 20 minutes of our time got cut in, but don't worry. I'll just hit the reset and we'll go forward from here. Before diving into today's training, Dan, I got a couple of questions for you. So any more awards? How did that first award go?
So the first award went great. We went down to the DLA conference last week, and while we were down there, I got paid for it. So that was nice.
Nice. Hey, I never asked, what was the dollar value of the contract that you got?
It was $3,800.
Okay, so it's a small contract, just kind of your introductory contract getting in there.
Yep.
Cool, man. Cool. You got anything else in the pipeline? Any traceability has come your way yet?
Well, so what I've been trying to do is figure out relationships, and that's kind of I have the ability to go out and do what I did in order to win the first contract, but I think that there was a lot of inefficiency in that process, and so what we're doing right now is turning our attention to trying to make manufacturer partners. While manufacturers, distributors, really anybody we can get our hands on. But so we have one electronics supplier that we've begun working with called D&H, and they're feeding us quotes. We have just established the relationship with them, so we haven't been bidding for the since last week. We were at DLA conference, and we've been working on some other stuff. So so there's that partner, and then we've begun getting a hold of manufacturers in order to see what their capabilities are to produce some of the bolts that are out there on set-asides, the bolts, nuts, screws, things along those lines. So there's a lot of small machine shops in the Midwest around us and around me, and those manufacturers. I mean, and those set-asides are just sitting out there. Right. And so as I was down at the DLA conference last week, I began speaking with some technical. So they had a technical booth set up, and so I learned a whole lot about what it would take in order to do that. I think that's a path that we're going to pursue going forward. Mm-hmm. And so long answer to your question. No, we don't have anything else in the pipeline as of yet, because we're still trying to work on relationships.
Okay. Yeah. And and I think that's actually a great approach, in my opinion, especially for newcomers to the DLA. A lot of folks are, student clients, the feedback I get is that, hey, we're ready to go, and they're just kind of like this random walk down Wall Street, for lack of a better word. They're kind of like pissing in the wind and just seeing where it goes. And I typically say, yeah, you got to kind of like understand the lane and say, okay, let me just pursue that and then see kind of where that takes me as far as products and things like that. Curious when you said manufacturers, because that's an area that our company has gotten involved with too. So I may be able to assist you as far as, from consulting perspectives, when you kind of get to that point where you're having those negotiations and doing the manufacturing licensing agreements and things like that. Or are you familiar with the term a SAR?
I am, yes.
Yeah, the source approval request.
So I was a buyer at Ford for a number of years, and this is actually one of the reasons I'm gravitating towards this area, is because I have quite a good deal of experience in contractual agreements and negotiating with manufacturers, things along those lines.
Perfect. Yeah, and the DLA's process with the SAR, it stands for Source Approval Request, and that's a pretty convoluted process in order to get your company to be an authorized, source for a particular NSN where you may have a relationship with a manufacturer to actually build that component, that part for the DLA. So yeah, we're actually in the midst of a SAR review as we speak, and it's kind of a new thing for our company as well. And I think the DLA is really looking for more of that because they've had such a hit to the small business, infrastructure that was in place pre-COVID. And so they've kind of lost their manufacturing aptitude or their customer base.
They mentioned the same thing to me when I spoke with them. They lost 20% of their manufacturing base in the last 6 years. And and we were going through the SAR process. I do understand it's pretty convoluted. I pulled down off of the DLA's website yesterday and was reviewing the process. And I believe it's on I'm not even certain that an SAR would work for what I'm proposing. There's another process that is kind of parallel to SAR called the AO process.
Oh yeah.
And that may be a better fit. Because it allows you to go to a manufacturer that has never had business with the DLA before and then propose a similar product. You have to, basically, and you have to come up with a way to prove that it's a exact same product. It's very similar to the SAR. It seems that it may fit to get some of the manufacturers that I'm looking at. Potentially not, though, because some of the manufacturers that I'm talking to, it just depends on where the relationships end up. But some of them I'm speaking with are, ISO compliant, and they're, all of these other compliance. So they may have parts that they've manufactured for the DLA before. So SAR might be the better process. So it kind of depends on where, who the suppliers are and what the products are.
Yeah, how the criticality of the product itself, from the tech documents, the first article test, and all the testing that the DLA has to go through. Because if it's a critical component for a tank or aircraft, you have to really jump through a lot of hoops. But if it's just something that doesn't go on a critical asset for the DLA, the path may be not as resistant as other paths.
Right. And so I think that's what we will probably start doing, is targeting those ones that are not of the higher burden, right?
Yeah. Hey man, I'll go ahead and give you another nugget since you're kind of getting, because I'm in full support of the warfighter, and it really does bother me to know that the DLA is having attrition as it relates to being able to support the warfighter on this level. So I try to kind of give the information away to especially newcomers to the DLA. One area that you may want to consider is whichever command that you're targeting, whether it's DLA troop support, DLA aviation, DLA land and maritime, whoever it may be, reach out there to their small business office, small business programs office, and let them know that you're interested in seeing what their no bid list was. And they will be able to direct you to how you can get the no bid list. And it'll literally give you hundreds of solicitations that are out there that no one's bidding. And a lot of these are manufactured products, believe it or not. So that'll give you kind of a snapshot of what, in a sense, that you can be able to attack.
So when I was down there last week, I've got literature, and I spoke with several of the DLA, not only buyers, but they had managers, office managers and stuff down there. And come to find out, since I'm a service disabled veteran, they have leads in each of those offices that are service disabled veteran. And so they gave me the email and stuff. So I'm reaching out to them here this week so I can establish some of those contacts. And the no bid list is definitely on there. I pulled it off of the DLA's main website. Also, to let you know, they gave us these kind of cards that have little scannable things on them that link to their like high hurt items, the ones that they're looking for immediately. And so taking a look at, I'll continue to take a look at that as we move forward too.
Perfect strategy, man. Perfect strategy. Awesomeness. Awesome. Yeah. And it kind of slipped my mind that you are a service disabled vet, because we kicked off a program last week where we're looking at solicitations that we know we can't touch, but we have very strong partnerships with vendors that can quote that material. And so my plan was to kind of student clients that I'm working with that consult with me, to have you be a part of that, where I can basically have, provide you with these parts and say, hey, Dan, since you don't have this great relationship with those, you have them with me, we can both team to go after some of these set-asides that are just for you. So what I'll do is be sure to add you to our database, because for some reason, I don't know why.
I actually, I think you may have added me already, because I got an email on Friday from you that has, I think it's made by 3M, something along those lines. It says some kind of filter. I was looking at it last night. The only burden for me was, okay, so I have been looking at financing over the last, couple of weeks. And so that's one of the things that I've really devoted a lot of time to. And I have business plans, projections, all this stuff, and it's gone to underwriting, and so I think that I have a couple of questions to ask, but I have access to about $350,000 in additional funding. See, the issue is it's expensive to get that loan. I mean, interest rates are really high right now, and then it creates a gigantic burden on me in order to pay back not only that, but the infrastructure that it would take to reinforce to get that kind, so if I'm dealing, so it's a $5,000 a month repayment, right, on a $350,000 loan. And then you work through how much, obviously, that's all, that has to be your profit level. And then that dictates the minimum amount of material you need to move through your warehouse on a monthly basis, and then your warehouse. And so anyways, it is a commitment that we are thinking about very, very hard, because right now I don't know that we're at the point that we're that size that I don't want to go borrow all that money without the infrastructure to support that, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, understood. And every company, I think, is kind of experiencing some kind of financial crunch. Even us, we are looking at bigger contracts where we don't have necessarily the trade lines to support those bigger contracts. So now we're needing to find financing in order to basically support buying the products up front. A lot of our vendors are asking for prepayment prior to shipment and things of that nature. So yeah, it's just, I think it's the nature of the game. And so what we're trying to do is just get smaller deals with a wider network of vendors in order to try to keep that going, versus taking on those high interest rate. There's a lot of factoring that's out there. There's a lot of companies that take advantage of small businesses, knowing that we are in a pinch. And so
there's PO financing out there too, but man, that stuff is expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really, there's a lot of companies out there that kind of take advantage, I think. But so pivoting back to so I have enough cash to support some pretty decent. I mean, I have probably close to 100,000 right now in cash flow, or not cash flow, assets, I guess, and free cash. And so I certainly can support some contracts. It just over 100,000, I'm not with my experience level and my cash level, they're just not something I can support. And so my thought is, so that's the reason I say all of this, is because the contract that you proposed, that you guys sent me for yesterday, was something like $125,000 or something like that. So it was just above my threshold, and so I don't know if that's something that you could put in the system, or if it's just something that I have to take a look at and just not bid those contracts when they get suggested.
Well, see, in the event that you did decide to bid it, and I'm glad we're having because I was waiting to get feedback from folks, because I think, I wasn't sure if you were in the database, so I'm glad you are. My team kind of puts that stuff together and just kind of it's all kind of an automated, so I don't even know who's actually getting it. But what my plan was, as responses came through, was just to say, okay, well, what's kind of, because you guys are new to it, and there's risk, there's risk on our part, because we don't want to jeopardize our position with our vendors, as well as that, because you guys would be in a position to be the prime. So the only thing I would probably suggest is that you bid it such that you give a longer delivery schedule to the DLA. And a lot of those contracts, you can cut it up into more palatable chunks. So let's say, you know, if I can say, hey, I can deliver these to you in 60 days, you tell the DLA, hey, DLA, I can do it and deliver it in 120 days, right? And so that way we can do a partial shipment, invoice that, get paid, and then kind of cut the cow up in chunks. That's more palatable.
Yeah, no, it's great that you say this, because the proposal that I got from you guys says that the pricing is good for 30 days on the quote. And so that's something I wanted to discuss with you, because I think I know you can probably give that. So when I go to quote that, then, you know, I have to give that time frame to my,
or make sure your markup kind of, for example, we have to do that with 3M because 3M is so volatile. From everything that happened with the, you know, the 3M N95 mask and all that good stuff. So 3M is not allowing long-term quote price fixing for whatever reason. So everything is kind of based on material shortages, demand. So every 30 days, it's like we have to go and reshuffle the deck. And unfortunately, I'm not the manufacturer. I'm at the mercy of what their policies are. So what I suggest you do in that regard, you know, you're never going to get 3M doubling the price. I mean, they may have a 3% increase or a 2% increase or whatever, because the cost of the material has gone up or whatever. And so I would maybe, because I don't know how many vets are competing, but you want to put they call it factor of safety, where you kind of just make sure you have this buffer that can
protect for it is what I would say to my suppliers.
Yeah.
When I was a buyer, I would say protect for that in your quote. So just basically include that in your quote. So build in an extra 2 to 3% with the expectation that we may have to use that 2 to 3% to cover an overage or a requote, basically. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's other components to that too. If you guys, you know, didn't want to take on the labeling and packaging, that could be something that we could potentially negotiate after award to do that work for you. And they, you know, make sure things get drop shipped correctly to the DLA on your behalf. We give you all the information, you go in the WAF, you process it, you know, you get paid, then, you know, everything balances itself out. But if you wanted to do it on your end and save that cost and, you know, take that in-house, you know, keep that profit to yourself where you can handle the packaging and labeling, we would then just ship it directly to, you know, for you to do the packaging and labeling. So we still have that ability too. I didn't put that into the quote because you know, it's more or less, you guys are new to it. So you gotta kind of learn that process.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that, hey, you know, we could potentially do that on your behalf for a different, you know, for a fee. If that was needed.
No, that's an amazing idea, because my warehouse space is really limited right now. So that limits me to the amount, you know, to the size of the things that I can bid. And so that could very, you know, potentially open your space up to me. I mean, I think that would be I think that's a great proposal.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, man. But hey, I want to dive into today. So thank you again for that. I wanted to at least get some feedback from you on the DLA and how things are going and things are cooking. So you're thinking about SAI Global. And I'm curious to understand your motivation. You know, what are you hoping to gain from looking at SAI Global as a tool with your business, and to see if today we can go into it and set things up and meet your expectations?
I guess I'm trying to figure out how to set up. So I will be obviously working majoritively on SDV contracts. And I'd like to figure out how to set up a system that I can filter in, you know, so I have 3 main categories that I support: defense hardware, IT, and medical. And so I'm not currently ITAR compliant. I don't currently have access to C folders. I will in approximately probably 1 week. So right now I'm looking for basically general commercial off-the-shelf items that I can ship, you know, internal CONUS, and I guess I'm open for suggestions beyond that.
Okay, cool. So here, I just enabled the share screen function. So let's go ahead and get your screen shared and get you logged into your trial account with SAI. And as you're doing that, have you played around and dibbled and dabbled with it a little bit since you've gotten access to it?
I would like to say I had, but I was out at that conference last week, and so I was traveling most of the week, and I took the weekend to myself.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, we'll cut a rug together here.
Cool.
And what I'm going to do is request remote control. And I just sent the request to you as well. Yeah, I saw that email from Karen this morning from SAI Global, your onboarding specialist. She's new. She's a new. So SAI Global, just so you'll know, and this whole relationship with our referred student clients and the training, it's all kind of a new program that they're putting together, and they're really pulling their team around it because we're getting such a great response from folks that are interested in it. So Karen, she's new. I'm not familiar. I haven't even spoken with her, so she's a new onboarding specialist. Please don't forget to check out my suite of highly effective DLA masterclasses. 8 steps to successful federal supply contract bid submissions to the DLA. This is my pre-award flagship masterclass, which provides a balanced approach to virtual education and is designed for both beginners and seasoned companies alike, with proven techniques on the best way to position your organization to being successful with winning federal supply contracts with the DLA. 4 steps to general post-award processes to successfully complete supply contracts with the DLA. This is considered my post-award advanced masterclass, which is part 2 of my flagship masterclass, which is designed to answer the question, what do I do now? After you successfully won a federal supply contract with the DLA. And last but not least, 4 steps to fast-track enhanced JCP certification for controlled technical documents. This is also an advanced masterclass that will get you fast-tracked to achieve enhanced joint certification or EJCP approval within 7 to 10 business days. If your business is interested in manufacturing products for the DLA, you'll need EJCP approval to gain access to export-controlled engineering drawings and associated technical documents. My complete suite of DLA masterclasses contains more than 7 hours worth of content, along with proprietary and recommended software tools that are designed to empower you for success with the DLA. Check out the links provided in the description below to learn more today. In addition to my available suite of DLA masterclasses, I also provide training with the use of recommended software tools to give you the winning edge on being successful in scaling your business with the DLA. SAI Global's Logicom and Opportunity Manager online software tools are designed to assist you with managing DLA solicitations, researching both national stock numbers and manufacturers, including providing advanced past award information right at your fingertips to give you the intel that you'll need to win with the DLA. The NMS Part Pricing Tool version 2.0 is a proprietary cloud-based software tool that is designed to give you the winning edge in both pricing your product bids and storing your product pricing data across your enterprise. As a bonus, you'll also receive the NMS data mining and RFQ sheet tool as showcased in my flagship masterclass. Check out the links provided in the description below to learn more today.
Thanks again for watching and for tuning in to this exciting announcement. I'm Parker Winslow, signing out.